She was a billionaire. She was a waitress with 3 jobs. But when the rich woman turned her phone and captured the scene, everything exploded. The billionaire freezes, her silver fork suspended midair. Because what she just witnessed, the waitress gently feeding a blind child, whispering words of encouragement, changes everything. Absolutely everything. And in just 60 seconds, this woman's entire worldview shatters. How? Let's rewind. This isn't just a story about kindness. It's about the moment privilege collides with reality and the seismic ripple effect that follows. You've seen viral good deed videos before, but this is different, because by the end, you'll be questioning everything you thought you knew about generosity, race, and the invisible lines that divide us. Ever walked past someone struggling and told yourself, someone else will help? What if that someone else ... was you? Ever noticed how easy it is to scroll past suffering when it doesn't wear your face? That's what this billionaire did every single day of her privileged life until tonight. Here's the first shock. The waitress wasn't just any employee. She was working 3 jobs to keep the lights on and still found time to care for a stranger's child. Meanwhile, the billionaire mom, she'd never once noticed the staff's faces until that moment. The room seemed to tilt. The chatter faded. All she could hear was the waitress humming a lullaby as she wiped the little girl's chin, and then click. Something inside her broke. But why? What snapped in that exact second? Was it guilt, shock, or something deeper? This is where the story really begins. The moment that wealthy woman locked eyes with the waitress, something invisible snapped into place. Her name was Kaisha, a single mom working doubles just to keep the lights on. Jasmine, her daughter born prematurely, lost her sight to medical neglect they couldn't afford to fight. Every damn day, Kaisha walked that tightrope. Leave Jasmine with a neighbor who charged half her tips, or bring her to work and risk getting fired. That night, she'd run out of options. Watch how she cuts Jasmine's meat with surgical precision, humming gospel into her ear, no wasted movement, pure muscle memory. The billionaire didn't see the eviction notice in Keisha's bag, or know the bus ride home took 90 minutes. But when Kaisha tucked a napkin under Jasmine's collar like it was silk, that's when the cracks started showing. Because privilege isn't just money, it's the luxury of not seeing how 90% of people survive. The diamond watch on the rich woman's wrist suddenly felt like handcuffs, ticking away minutes of oblivious comfort while Kaisha counted seconds between tables. The billionaire's champagne glass, till half full, reflected a face she barely recognized. When had she become the kind of woman who spends more on lunch than this waitress makes in a week? The billionaire's hands trembled as she pressed against the bathroom door, not from disgust, but from something far more dangerous, recognition. While Kaisha was reheating leftovers in the microwave, something fell from her pocket onto the floor ... An eviction notice with words scribbled on the back. No money left for her eye medicine. The math hit like a gut punch. This waitress literally couldn't afford to waste a single grain of rice. And that's when the second shockwave hit the sound. Not crying. Not complaining. Kaisha humming through cracked lips as she wiped Jasmine's face, her voice rough but tender. Mama's got you, sunshine. Who sings lullabies in a bathroom stall at 10 p.m. after back-to-back shifts? Someone whose heart hadn't turned to marble in a gated mansion? That's who. The billionaire's breath caught. 20 years of private jets and charity galas. Yet she'd never once folded a dollar bill into a server's hand without calculating the tax write-off. That split-second decision to follow Kaisha, it tore open a hole in her reality she couldn't tape back up. Privilege isn't just what you have, it's what you don't have to notice. Standing there in the cheap fluorescent glare, she realized the richest thing in that room wasn't her diamond watch. It was the love radiating from a woman the world had tried to break. But here's the twist. Kaisha had no idea this wasn't their first meeting. The billionaire wasn't just a random stranger. The moment she locked eyes with Kaisha, her breath hitched. Those deep brown eyes, she'd seen them before. Decades ago, in a rundown foster home where she'd spent one miserable summer. Kaisha was the little girl who'd shared her last cereal bar with her, whispering, "It's okay, we're sisters today." The memory stabbed through her like ice. All these years, she tucked that moment away until now. The universe had a sick sense of humor, reuniting them like this. One woman scrubbing toilets to survive, the other tossing back $20 martinis without a thought. And the cruelest part? Kaisha didn't even recognize her. Why would she? Back then, the billionaire was just another scared kid with a fake name to hide her family's disgrace. Her stomach churned. This wasn't just guilt, it was cosmic karma screaming in her face. Suddenly, that diamond watch felt like handcuffs. Every privilege she'd clung to was built on forgetting people like Kaisha existed, but fate had other plans. The mouse had finally caught the lion, and the lion was about to roar. And then it hit her like a punch to the gut. That wasn't just any waitress wiping sauce off her kid's face. This was Kaisha. The same girl who shared her last Pop-Tart with her in that freezing group home 20 years ago. The billionaire's perfectly manicured hands started shaking. She could have walked away from anything, but not this. Not again. Think about it. How many times do we ignore the people who saved us? The ones who showed us kindness when we had nothing? Her penthouse, her private jets, none of that mattered now. Because that moment in the diner slapped her with a truth she'd been running from. Success means nothing if you forget where you came from. Here's the brutal part. Most rich folks dismiss these encounters. Just tip well and move on. But when destiny puts your past in front of you, starving, struggling, serving fries, you either face it or become a ghost in your own life. And that's why her feet stayed planted. That's why her cashmere coat brushed the dirty diner floor as she kneeled down. The mouse didn't just catch the lion. It reminded her she was never the lion to begin with. And then chaos erupted. The billionaire's perfectly composed world cracked like thin ice under stomping boots. You could hear a pin drop when her voice finally broke the silence. "Kaisha, from Hillcrest Home? It's me, Elizabeth." The other customers froze forks midair. This wasn't just awkward. This was a grenade exploding in slow motion. Keisha's tray clattered to the floor, ketchup bottles rolling like casualties. Recognition flashed across her tired face, followed by something harder to name. 20 years of diverging paths collided in a sticky-floored diner on a Tuesday night. "You don't remember me? After all those nights I held your hand through the dark?" Kaisha whispered, her voice like steel wrapped in velvet. The billionaire's face? Picture someone whose script just burst into flames. Tears smeared her mascara into war paint. Her designer bag hit the floor. And right there, in that greasy spoon, the richest woman in the room looked ... small. That's when the phone cameras came out. Because nothing exposes truth faster than a public meltdown with witnesses. Every gasp, every shattered expression went viral by dessert. The internet didn't just watch, it feasted. Comment sections became war zones of class warfare and redemption theories. "That's what guilt looks like," one tweet roared. Another whispered, "Wealth can't buy back your soul." The billionaire's PR team worked overtime, but some stains don't come out. And Kaisha? She kept serving pancakes like it was just another Tuesday, because for her it was. That's the brutal beauty of this moment. The powerless woman held all the power. And the one with everything? She walked out with nothing, but the truth stuck to her like gum on a Prada heel. That guilt, it had weight. Like a diamond stuck in her throat, priceless, but choking her every time she swallowed. And here's the twist. Prejudice isn't just hate. It's a script we never question until someone rewrites it for us. Kaisha didn't scream at her, didn't shame her. She just ... fed a blind child, a tiny act with nuclear consequences. The billionaire's armor cracked like cheap lipstick. Why? Because love exposes what privilege hides. Everyone's human. Even her. Watch close now. This is where redemption gets messy. That Prada heel, it dragged her right back to that diner the next day. Not for damage control. Not for the cameras. But because one woman's kindness had done the impossible, it made her feel poor. And in that emptiness, a chance to rebuild. Ever seen a skyscraper implode? That's what happens when a lifetime of us versus them hits one undeniable truth. Maybe them was never the problem. Maybe we're all just people wrapped in different packaging. And then the moment that shattered every preconception. Picture this. A woman who could buy entire city blocks discreetly sliding into a worn-out diner booth at 3 a.m. Not to flex wealth, but to beg for something money can't buy. Keisha's hands, still smelling of fry oil and maple syrup, paused mid-wipe when she recognized the trembling voice. "Teach me," the billionaire whispered, "how to see people like you do." Cue the gut punch. Keisha's response wasn't some scripted forgiveness. She laughed. Not cruel, just exhausted. "Ain't no class for that, ma'am. You either care or you don't." The security footage shows what happened next. A $10,000 sleeve reaching across cracked laminate to clutch a $7.25 hour hand. No cameras. No PR team. Just raw humanity dripping onto cold coffee stains. The internet lost it when Keisha finally broke the silence. "You want to help? Stop tipping in guilt trips." Boom. That's when the billionaire did the unthinkable. She listened. Not the fake nod while planning your exit, listen. The ugly cry snot bubble kind. The kind that births real change. The billionaire pulled out a check for $1 million. Keisha looked at the signature ... and tore it in half. The ripping sound echoed through the empty diner like thunder. "Money doesn't erase what you did," she said, her voice steady. "But if you want to help, come serve coffee here tomorrow at 5 a.m. 4 words sealed the redemption arc. I'll be here." And what do you think the rich woman did? She showed up in a uniform and worn-out sneakers. While her driver waited in a Bentley outside, the first table she served. A mother with a blind daughter, Jasmine, and her new music teacher. The one who was teaching her Braille sheet music because someone had paid for lessons. The universe doesn't just set up coincidences. It arranges full circle moments that shatter your perception of what's possible. And that's when the unthinkable unfolded. Remember those stock options? They weren't just scraps thrown to quiet guilt. They were the first domino. The billionaire didn't just sign papers. She showed up every single Sunday. Same booth, same uncomfortable silence, learning to listen like her life depended on it. Keisha's daughter, the little girl who started it all. Turns out she had addictive piano fingers that danced, even though she'd never seen a keyboard. Guess who funded not just the Braille music lessons, but an entire arts program for visually impaired children? But here's the kicker. This wasn't charity. It was reparations. The diner's staff got something wilder than money, a seat at the table. Literally. The billionaire's board meetings now smell like waffle fries because guess who's voting on company policies? Minimum wage became living wage. Coffee refills came with 401 matches. And that cold corporate office tower? It's got a subsidized daycare run by Keisha's cousin, the twist. The billionaire lost half her friends. Turns out, real change smells like revolution wrapped in apron strings. Watch close, this is how karma cashes the check Privilege wrote. So here's the wild part. This isn't just a feel-good story. It's a mirror. That billionaire could have walked away from the diner unchanged. Keisha's daughter might still be struggling to read music, those corporate policies, still crushing families. But one moment of real humanity rewrote everything. And now it's your turn. Let's rewind fast. A single act of kindness exploded into living wages, daycare, and board seats for workers. The cost? Some fake friends. The reward? A legacy that doesn't smell like greed. Imagine waking up tomorrow knowing you'd done something that irreversible, where your name isn't just on a bank account, but on someone's second chance. That's the power you're sitting on right now. No, you might not be a billionaire, but every choice you make today is a brick in someone's future. The real question is, what kind of foundation are you building? Would you help someone like Keisha today? Comment yes or would ignore. On your way to work tomorrow, count how many Keishas you pass without seeing. The barista with the fading smile. The janitor who knows your name even though you never asked for his. That coworker who's been wearing the same 3 shirts for years. They're all waiting for that moment, the one where you finally see them. Not as servants to your convenience, but as humans carrying universes inside them. Universes you haven't bothered to explore. When was the last time you asked your delivery driver about their dreams? Or noticed the cashier's hands cracked and worn from sanitizer and counting other people's money? That's the real pandemic, our blindness to each other. Today, look into the eyes of someone you'd normally ignore. The revolution starts there, with one moment of genuine curiosity. One decision to pierce the bubble of your convenience. Hit subscribe now, not later, not when you remember, because the next video drops the blueprint for spotting your Keisha moment. That stranger in line, that coworker you ignore, they might be holding the key to your transformation. And if you're in the first 100 comments yelling change builder, I'll slide you the secret clip we couldn't even show here. Oh, and smash that like button if you've ever been this close to missing your life's biggest turning point. Coming up next, a homeless man hands a CEO a crumpled note at a traffic light. What inside ignites a protest that topples a $3 billion industry? Here's your exit interview. If this story doesn't haunt you into action, what will?